I've had the BC Racing BR Series coilovers on the BRZ for about 1.5 years now, and today I'm taking them off and I'm putting back on the stock suspension. I'll explain why later in the video, but let's just get right to it. I am going to start with the fronts. I started with the fronts last time, so I'm just following along to my last video when I installed these coilovers. Oh no, it's very stiff. I mean, I might as well just tell you now why I'm doing this, why I'm putting the BRZ back to stock. So Vivian's Jeep, that stupid thing right there, has been acting up once again. And as you guys know, we put about $4,000 into it within the past 2.5 months. And now it's having transmission problems. So it needs a shift solenoid replacement. We got quoted $950 for that. I called 3 different shops and only one would give me a quote over the phone. The other 2 wanted to see it in person. And I was like, dude, I read the code with my OBD2 scanner and this is what it says it needs. It says it needs shift solenoid A. So anyway, we're about to spend another $1,000 on that, and then as soon as that thing is back from the shop, I'm gonna clean it up and post it for sale. We don't want anything to do with that anymore. So Vivian has the Type R today. The Type R is not here. She took it to work. And our short-term goal with putting the stock suspension back on is so that Vivian can drive this and not absolutely hate it. It's much more comfortable in stock form, as we're going to find out at the end of the video when I go test it out and make sure everything's good. I'm going to start with disconnecting the ABS line. That's this little clip and that little clip right there. Oh wow, that's just going to come right out. Oh, okay, that's easy. Okay, for this little one down the bottom, you have to depress the top and the bottom. You see that right there? Now I need to disconnect this right here. Right here, these are the through bolts for taking off the nut on the other side. Okay. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, but I'm just gonna use a 12-inch extension on my breaker bar. That should give me enough clearance over the fender. Yeah, I believe it will. Oh, easy peasy. This is loosen, right? Nope, it's clearly tightening. Okay. There we go. These through bolts need to be pounded out, and then this is gonna fall. You got one. I need to wiggle this a little bit. Okay. Nice. This is going pretty well so far. Hopefully the vibe stays as is throughout this install. Next up, we have these 12 mils up here. Wow, those are barely on there at all. Oh, okay, we got movement down below. So with my right hand, I'm gonna unscrew these. With my left hand, I'm gonna keep the pressure up so that's easier to get the nuts off. Okay, this is ready, dude. Look at that. The front is not bad at all. Holy moly, dude. We're gonna be sitting pretty tall. I'll make sure I organize everything and put them in Ziploc bags for whoever ends up buying these coilovers. I am gonna offer them for sale, the whole set, for $700 once I get all these off. Okay, we got through. Now in reverse order, first thing I'm gonna do is put the through bolts in. There we go. Oh, there is a top and a bottom. Yeah, these are different. You see the thickness on the one right here? So that must be the top for whatever reason. There. Top one. And the bottom one. Okay, and I don't think these nuts matter. I think those are exactly the same. Put these 2 clips in over here for the ABS line. This needs to go back on now. Okay, these big boys right here are gonna be set to 114 foot-pounds of torque. There's like no room. Okay. So since I'm only doing one side at a time, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I cannot figure out for the life of me how to comfortably put the car up on 4 jack stands at one time. It's gonna take a little longer for me than probably a lot of you. The sway bar end link at a different level of compression on the other side because the coilover is like 2.5 inches shorter. So let me show you what I'm talking about. This one, if you try to go in, look how much further down it is. And this sway bar is not moving because obviously it's connected to everything on the other side. So once I do the other side and I take the sway bar end link off, this will be able to spin freely. And then when I put the stock suspension on the other side and then the sway bar back on, it'll be lined up perfectly on this side, the perfect height for this sway bar end link to go back in. Including the time it took me to jack that side of the car up, I got this out in approximately 15 minutes, this left side. So we're grooving now. The stock assembly is in on the driver's side now. So I'm gonna show you what I was talking about earlier. So the sway bar, you can move it freely now. See that? So now, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be somewhere pretty far down there. The top end goes through the back, and the bottom end goes through the front. That's pretty much perfect right there. That should be fine, just like that. Now the bottom one, this might have to come up a little bit, yep. There. Nice. I hear my car. That thing is loud. So, how was it?
I kind of prefer driving this car over the BRZ.
Why is that?
Way smoother. I like this.
You like the shifter better?
I like the clicks. I took it really slow on the way to work just because I'm not familiar with this car, but on the way back, I drove normal, and this car has I feel like it has way more power than the BRZ does.
Did you put it in comfort or did you leave it in sport?
No, I don't know how to switch it. So
oh, okay. So you were in sport mode the whole time. No wonder it has more power. That's way, way more torquey in sport mode.
Yeah, it's cool though. I feel like you need to get like the click-on ones. I think that would be cool. Feels like you're in like a race car.
Nah, I don't want to be a poser. I don't actually race this thing.
So, it was fun.
So you like driving this one better?
Yeah.
Because you get more power? You like the shifter?
Yep.
By smoother, do you mean the suspension?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm working on the suspension on the BRZ right now. So the front is all done. That did not take too long at all, but guys, so these NKs are 18 by 8.5 plus 45. Dude, I can't fit my finger through there between the next ring down on the spring and the tire. I can only fit the middle of this wrench. So watch. I can fit that through, but if I try to do the thick part where you grab it, I mean, that's touching. And over here, this one actually has load on it. It's even tighter under load. Obviously do the rear, and then once I'm driving it at the end of the video, we'll be able to tell if I have to put the stock wheels and tires back on or not. I mean, the stock wheels and tires are gonna go back on regardless, but it's just a matter of whether I need to do that today. Oh, there she goes. There we go. Oh, there she is. We got the first rear coilover assembly. I'm probably like 25 minutes into the rear, so. Okay, getting the stock assembly in. This is what I'm doing right now. I have that hammer that is lifting that just the slightest bit off the ground, which is putting upward pressure on the assembly, which is just enough for me to start threading in these nuts. Bad news, I was just watching my video of my first installation, and I have this on backwards. So the blue and the red little touches of paint, those are supposed to be facing inward. So I have to take this out and turn it around 180 degrees. I'm gonna put a little bit of PB Blaster right here.
Here's one of the things. Yes.
There we go. That's a little easier. Okay. There. We have some special guests once again. What do we have here? Hi, babe. Hi, beautiful girl. Yes. So I got a bunch of comments on the last video of my language around Ellie, and felt gave me a pretty bad feeling, so I haven't sworn once this video. And I've been trying all day to not swear around her. So it's good. I listen to your comments. I listen to what people say. They have a good point. Someone was like, man, I love your videos, but your language is getting a bit much, especially around the kid. So sad. Yeah, and I was like, oh, shoot. All right, there's absolutely no way that end link is gonna go in there. You see that gap? There's no way. If I had another jack, I could probably jack this up, but yeah, whatever. It just takes like another 5 minutes to do it the way I'm doing it. It's not the biggest deal. The rear coilovers are actually different from one another. There are no indications on the coilovers themselves. There's nothing that says left or right. I had to find out the hard way. I want you to take a look at this. You see how it's tilted to the left? It's tilted down to the left, and the right, it looks like it's tilting a little bit up. This would be straight. This is going to be the driver's side. The passenger side, the one I just put on, it's going to do the opposite way. So instead of going up like that at an angle, it's gonna go like that. I hope that makes sense. Finally finished the install just before it gets dark. I have that weird feeling that's coming over me, like I missed something. Oh yeah. The clearance in the rear is no problem at all. Has plenty of space. But in the front, yeah, in the front it's so close. Looks like a monster truck right now. I need to go drive it around, obviously make sure everything's good, and the suspension will settle in a little bit. I just want to reiterate that these coilovers, with all the nuts, all the hardware, I am putting these up for sale for $700. So if you or someone you know is looking for a set of coilovers, lightly used, I think I put 8,000 miles on them, let me know. It's the next morning. Guys, you know how I had that feeling? That I missed something? It clicked. I forgot to torque down those lug nuts on this tire right here. So that's the last thing I need to do. I laughed when I remembered, and Vivian did not think that was funny because she was gonna take the BRZ today. So she's gonna take the Type R so she doesn't die. Right? Yep, okay. So initially, I said that it has been about 1.5 years since I had these coilovers on, and it's actually almost been 2 years. I put those on March 2022. Let's feel what the difference is, boys. I really hope I put these on correctly, because if I didn't, it's gonna be a bad day, because I have a 33 mile commute each way to work. The first test is gonna be this terrible 4-way intersection right here. Okay, let's see how it does over these bumps. Actually not a huge difference. I mean, it's more comfortable for sure. Oh yeah, there is a difference when it shifts. There's a difference. It feels, the car just feels a little softer. Let's see how we do right here. Oh, this feels good. If you could have this comfortability, but like an inch and a half lower, then I think that would be perfect. Oh, this is way more bearable than the BC Racing coilovers. See, the coilovers I had on, they're definitely not meant for daily driving. The spring rates were like 8K front and rear, and also those coilovers were not valved specifically for this platform. If I were going to put new coilovers on, I would get the Race Comp Engineering Super Street ones, I think that's what they're called. The RCE SS ones. I see a lot of people rave about those. I see a lot of good things about Fortune Auto as well. This part, going over this intersection, will like, it was terrible with the coilovers. I'll show you the part right here. It's like this big drop. Oh my God. I have lowering springs on the Type R, and it's still pretty comfortable. I would say this on stock suspension is a little more comfortable than the Type R on spoon springs. And spoon springs are barely any different in terms of spring rates versus the stock springs. Right here too. Oh my God, that feels so much better. The car's been doing great today. It feels good, except I know the alignment is off. Mostly I can feel the toe being off. Like when I go over certain sections of the road, it just feels like the toe is definitely off. So I obviously know I need to get an alignment as soon as possible. I don't know when that'll be, because we're down to 2 cars, so Vivian has to use one and I have to use one. There are certain sections of the road where this doesn't feel that different from the BC coilovers, but there are certain sections where it does. I don't really know. Over big bumps, this is a huge difference. It's way more comfortable. But over little imperfections in the road, it honestly doesn't feel that different from the BCs. Overall, it's a comfortability improvement, 100%. And then also when you're turning like this, even though that was a weak turn, you can still feel a lot more body roll. I mean, the BCs were so stiff. you could take a turn pretty hard and it felt like there was virtually no body roll. This is not like that. Overall, I'm happy I went back to the stock suspension. Here's what she looks like after almost 24 hours and a 60-mile commute. So I assume the suspension has just about settled. It looks it doesn't look terrible with this wheel and tire setup. Like I said, these are only 18 by 8.5 plus 45. It almost looks like it could have been OEM, but it still looks a little funky to me. Definitely a ton of wheel gap. These have a ton of wheel gap in stock form. That does look kind of weird in a way. I don't know. Well, that's all I have for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. See you soon.